And these days, actually, I call myself a industry or business hacker. Actually, so I try to change the entertainment industry or sports or media because I'm active in these three areas.
Hi, Dennis. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me here.
Of course. We're here for our team interview. And we're going to talk about you, what you've done, what you're doing right now, and also looking into the future. So we're going to dive into this right away. And to start first with an introduction. So please tell me who you are, what you do, and all about yourself, basically.
Well, my name is Denis Doeland, because I'm Dutch. So Doeland, we always say like Doeland. Or actually, when you translate my last name, it's doing country. Whatever.
Yeah.
But I'm Denis Doeland. I work for 30 years almost in the entertainment industry.
Wow.
I started in 1992 with my own record shop where I built the label of ID&T.
Yeah. You mean the record label?
The record label for ID&T, where we have the infamous Thunderdome series, Gabber Music.
Yeah.
I was there a record executive, a publishing executive. Later on, the digital age, so in the late 90s, mid 90s actually, the breakthrough of the internet came. And I thought like, well, this is exciting. This is it. So I became, I transformed myself or pivot actually to the digital side of me. And these days, actually, I call myself a industry or business hacker, actually. So I try to change the entertainment industry or sports or media because I'm active in these three areas.
Okay.
As a business hacker and an industry hacker.
And then please explain, what is a business hacker to you?
A business hacker is actually, I look in a business because a business or an organization has multiple data points. And I use these multiple data points towards the profit and loss of a company, actually, so the profit and loss statement, or actually the valuation of a company. So I can, with the model I use, it's called the Business Acceleration Framework, I'm able actually to transfer your Facebook fan or your Twitter follower or your YouTube subscriber towards business value.
And you call it a business acceleration framework. A framework, sorry.
Yes.
In a nutshell, can you explain what it is?
Yeah, but the Business Acceleration Framework exists of 5 goals and objectives, actually. That is company value, that is reputation, that is efficiency in time and money, actually. It's acceleration of your primary revenue streams and finding of secondary revenue streams.
Okay.
So these are the 5 goals and objectives I look for in a company.
So then you go to existing companies and they have like a digital problem or a digital question. They come to you and then with your framework, you sort of go and find money basically for them.
Find
money, find strategies.
I find turnover, which result in company value actually.
And that's then part based on a digital strategy.
Yeah, and what I always say, like, as a company these days, actually, every company is a digital company, maybe with analog products. So your starting point, your relationship with your fan or clients actually starts in the digital world first.
And then for what sort of companies do you work then?
I work now in the area of sports, media and entertainment. I came from the entertainment, so typical clients are DJs or festivals or events. But also I work with football players.
Cool.
Which playing in the big leagues.
Which are also DJs, basically.
Actually,
different type of artists.
I always call like a football game. Actually, it's like sensation. But then 90 minutes and 37 times a year. And they have 22 DJs. Performing
90 minutes.
90 minutes.
True.
So you actually can treat this the same as the model I use for DJs and festivals and events.
Oh, wow. And so you've moved on from being a music publisher to doing everything basically in the digital world. How did that came about? Because it's quite a move gradually.
Yeah, well, the red line in my doing or what I do in life actually is change. I don't know why, but I have the urge of like
You're an
inventing.
innovator.
Innovator. But I try to invent myself all the time, you know. So when I understand the record business, I thought like, okay, the record business is putting out CDs and vinyl and all this stuff. But now the digital world started. And everybody shouts like, oh, it's gonna burn, it's gonna burn. And I think like, which possibility gives the digital world to exploit music, for example?
Yeah.
And I tried to find out in the area of like 1995 till 1999, or the beginning of the zeros, actually, like how could it transform a record company into a digital company?
Yeah. So actually, one of the first companies that needed to hire you were the record companies.
Yeah, or
who were blind at the beginning of the 2000s.
Well, the fun part is actually when you work at a company of ID&T, we pivoted at that time all the time.
Yeah,
let's try to invent ourselves. We started with grabber music, and we became a multi-genre dance company, actually. So that is already a big pivot.
Did it start there for you, the pioneering? Because ID&T is a company that did a lot of pioneering back in the days. You are about change. You're about pioneering. Did it start there for you?
Yeah, pioneering is in my blood and in the blood of ID&T.
Yeah.
Actually, in the blood of ID&T and in my blood. But and that's how I try to solve, challenges. Yeah, I try to, when I always look for opportunities instead of hurdles.
Yeah, and then opportunities. When you look at events, what are the main opportunities that event promoters can learn from nowadays?
Well, actually, I'm trying to finish my fourth book. Actually,
your fourth book?
Yeah. Okay. I already wrote 3 books, but in my fourth book, I try to get. It's like a manual. You not need it at the COVID period or the pandemic period, but you would need it before. Because what has to do events company? Events company are, when you look at the COVID period, if you lost the relationship with your fans and clients,
with your online customers,
then you're not selling tickets in the future. Yeah. So for me, it's like every event company is in the relationship economy. Yeah, and maintaining, obtaining, and optimizing relationship is the first thing an events company has to start with. And thereon, actually, maybe you're going to sell tickets, merchandising, sponsorships, whatever. But to understand this way of thinking, that's the first thing events company have to do.
Yeah, and I think it's quite a new way of thinking, because most or all promoters basically are sort of fixed on that we need to sell tickets.
No, we're creating a product.
Yeah.
So let's take, for example, an example of Sensation.
Yeah.
So it's a big stage with theaters and all this kind of stuff. Great stuff. Then we book DJs, or they book DJs.
Yeah.
Okay, and then they try to sell tickets for that product.
Yeah.
So the decor, with the music, and then let's try to sell some tickets.
Yeah.
What I say, instead of that, okay, you can do that with growth marketing or whatever, growth hacking, or fine. However, it's not sustainable. Yeah, you need to make it sustainable for a long term, and maybe you have to make it sustainable for a period when you can't sell tickets.
I think that's the most important thing, because the event is only 1 or 2 days, maybe 3 days, but
a year.
The online world is basically year round.
Yeah, 365. And that's the fun part. I already do research for 12 years now. And I have 8 or 9 years now data of all social media platforms, of all events here in Holland, for example, or in the Netherlands. And the fun part on that is I see complete similarities in that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's very simple.
Yeah.
They start up in March or April, saying we're going to do events.
Yeah.
Then they announce the lineup. They're doing the ticket sales. Then the events come, and it grows and it goes and it goes.
And then it's
and they go on holiday in September.
And then it plummets.
Yeah. And they have to start again, all over again in March. And of these hundreds of festivals and events we have here in the Netherlands, in Holland, every year it's the same for the last 8 years.
But how can you change that then? Because people are so fixed on their way of thinking, doing.
It's a board decision. It's a C-level decision. It's a company owner decision saying okay, I'm willing to maintain or obtain or optimize this relationship in the period I don't sell my product.
Yeah. So that means investing.
investing
money, time, effort,
etc. Correct.
And you also need the budgets then.
Of course, yeah.
Do you see already that there's a lot of promoters willing to do that, willing to take that risk or so? It's not a risk, but it's a new way of thinking, but willing to accept that?
Well, the last 18 months actually helped a bit,
Because there was no other way to sell tickets even.
No, so what are you going to do?
Yeah.
And a lot of organizers and organizations came to the conclusion actually saying like, oh, I need to change because if this happens again...
we're screwed.
You're screwed. And I don't want to be screwed because I love my job, I love my company, I love my brand, I love my organization, whatever, what they feel. And they start to change. So a lot of Dutch companies actually pressed on the button.
On the right button, yeah. And then looking at your role, where do you fit in then? Do you like come to the office and then stay there for a couple of weeks, go through their complete strategy and then adjust or change or whatever? Or how does it work? It
works like this. First, I'm going to talk with the C-level or the company owners and maybe, appealing people on that. And it starts like the mindset because when, you need to have a digital mindset.
Yeah.
So it's 1 or 2 sessions to speak about how the digital ecosystem is working. And when you understand that and you're willing to make the choice for the transformation, then we're going like, write down a plan with the 5 goals and objectives, which are very measurable metrics, actually, to be honest. And then we start to implement these metrics in terms of 3 months, 6 months, 12 months. And we try to actually, it's like, the effort, it goes like this. It's a lot of effort in the beginning and it goes down. And then the value or the turnover goes like this. And we try to look for a crossing point where you really, with less effort, make the most of money and the most value, actually.
Yeah.
And this is like a 6 to 9 month period.
Yeah.
And then the optimization period is, infinited.
And that 6 to 9 month period, is that basically for every event the same, roughly the same?
Well, I do also data collection on all my projects, and I see that the general time is between 6 and 12 months.
Yeah,
you have companies which are very willing and very well organized. They are the fastest, of course. They can do it in 6 months. Yeah. When you're not that organized or not that willing or reluctant, it takes like 9 or 12 months.
Yeah. And what is your skill set then? Because you're you're trying to implement a new digital strategy for a company. How do you then implement that? What are your skills to sort of persuade them? Because you have to persuade into a different thinking.
Yeah, well, the different thinking is actually to translate all this difficult digital stuff.
Yeah,
talking about ROAS, and we're talking about RPU, and I don't know. We have all this kind of. I try to to understand. So I make a schedule for them, a drawing saying like, okay, this data point leads via this to the value of the company. Well, that's the part. The value of the company.
Yes, that's everybody understands that.
That's the part it's understand. And I just draw. I make drawings. Actually, that's the skill set. We make drawings and visuals.
Okay.
Of we don't talk about like how we implement codes, how we implement difficult stuff.
No. Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah. Because I think this is the difficult part. If you need to make it understandable for people.
Yeah. When it's understandable and they feel like, okay, we start with this and this is the result. Yeah. That's the part that they understand, and then we use the whiz kids and all the nerdy guys who are in this code thing and all this stuff, to implement it. Yeah. But it's all about understanding and the mindset.
Yeah, and so to understand that and to change that mindset, you work in different sections of different industries. You work in the sports, you work in music, you work in entertainment. Is there a difference of approach? How you approach certain, let's say, sports companies or compared to, example, events companies?
No, actually, there are similarities. We already were joking about football, actually, but a football club is like RD&T.
So your approach is also the same.
Alda or any club, which you can name actually. So that's the same thing. The football players are DJs, you know. So it's complete actually the same, because I use the framework, and the business acceleration framework is the same framework for every branch actually. If it's sports, media, or entertainment, doesn't matter
as long as you change the mindset.
Yeah.
Looking into the future, there's especially in events and in the event industry, there's of course a lot of digital innovations, but then more looking from a show sort of perspective. So with holographic visuals and LED screens and fireworks and whatnot, do you also see like a lot of innovation? Well, the digital age is an innovation in itself, but do you see a lot of new innovations coming up within that digital space for the entertainment industry?
I'm very curious now. You know, everybody's talking about the metaverse.
Well, Facebook recently.
Yeah. So I am very curious which company or which organization creates the metaverse. Let's say the metaverse of the sensation. I'm looking forward to to that, for example.
And what would that be then? Would you put on glasses and then experience the festival just through your glasses? Or?
Yeah, that will be like, I think, one live area where people are there actually, and then you are there with the people with your VR, some like that, blended maybe. This will be the area, and that's a really fun part actually, because there also starts the relationship I was talking about, because then you need relations. Let's say you do create an analog space in Amsterdam. Above that, you create the metaverse actually of sensation, for example. Yeah. And you have fans in Japan in the metaverse.
Wow.
Wouldn't it be great?
Yeah. Is that the future talking, or is it something that we can actually do?
Actually, it already happened. Remember Second Life?
True.
We tried to create sensation in Second Life.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was talking with Michael Hacking, my former colleague, about this a lot of the time, actually.
Yeah, well, maybe you were like 3 steps ahead. 3 steps ahead of the curve.
Well, Second Life was 3 steps ahead of the curve, actually.
But who knows? Then who knows if it might happen in the next few years?
It will happen. Yeah. And now why? It's very simple. It's about broadband, and now 5G.
It's coming. It's already
rolled out everywhere in the world, actually, and that's a technology which can facilitate this very easily.
So hopefully then in a few years you won't have to persuade everyone, and everyone will just do the things that you ask them to do.
I hope so. I hope so for them.
True. Yeah. For them to make their money. Thank you very much, Dennis.
You're welcome,
for this lovely conversation.
Yeah, you're welcome, Clayton. Yeah.